Seth Rollins' injury is going to go down as a massive, massive thing because it's a much bigger than you know, because it has changed WWE's plans in such a dramatic way. We know now that the Seth Rollins injury is legitimate and it has caused chaos within WWE SummerSlam's plans because that event takes place next month. He was legitimately hurt, forcing major creative changes, and now we have the full story. He suffered a knee injury while working LA Knight at Saturday night's main event. Now, PWInsider reports that the injury forced a last-second change to the finish of the match. Obviously, this has put his upcoming creative plans in question. According to WWE sources in the report, the original plan was for Seth Rollins to go over LA Knight. However, after Rollins tweaked his knee during the bouts, a call was made to end the match to prevent further injury. The finish was changed on the fly, with LA Knight hitting his BFT finisher and scoring the quick, decisive pinfall victory over Seth Rollins. As noted on the broadcast by Michael Cole, Rollins was helped to the back by officials and medical personnel. Now, as of this recording of this video, and hopefully this will change, but I currently do not have any word on the severity of the injury, but the report did indicate that all signs point to it being legitimate and not part of a storyline. This potential loss of Rollins for any significant time would create major issues for WWE creative. Think about it. Rollins, alongside his new faction featuring Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed, was being pushed as a top act on not only Monday Night Raw, but let's be real, the entire company. A long-term injury would not only halt the group's momentum, but it would also require a significant change to be made to the planned card for the upcoming SummerSlam Premium Live event in August. Now look, it also impacts further booking, because just because he was lined up for a match at SummerSlam, I'll get to in a minute, you also have to look at the other PLEs that they had coming up. All the direction, the tension between him and Braun Breaker already, with a lot of people thinking, oh, Braun Breaker's going to turn babyface and Paul Heyman is going to go with the up-and-coming rising star, the youth movement, as he does, right? Well, now you can't do that match. Now you have to delay this. With SummerSlam, a lot of people, including myself, because it was just basically written on the wall, was, oh, we're going to get Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns, or we're going to get Seth Rollins versus CM Punk, or we're going to get a tag team match with Roman and Punk teaming up against Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins, or Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins. So you have to remove him from that. You have to remove him from upcoming television. You have to remove him from SummerSlam plans. You have to remove him from upcoming PLE plans. There's so many things in which not only do you have to remove him from, but you also now have to shift the deck, right? Triple H uses this analogy where when you're dealing with WWE creative or just pro wrestling creative in general, it's like a domino. Once you line up all your dominoes, those are your plans. But once one domino falls, then they all fall, and you have to reshuffle the entire deck, right? Like or cards if you want, whatever analogy you want to give, but you get what I'm saying. It changes everything. It forces changes to everything. And now WWE has to deal with that. They have to pivot, and they have to move, and they have to get to where they need to go in order to salvage the situation. Now, look, I will say that, in my opinion, what we will likely get, because WWE is going to want Punk and Roman Reigns to be their biggest stars on that SummerSlam card, you're not going to pull them from that event. They're working that show. They're putting on their boots, and they're going to go out there and they're going to work. So what I would guesstimate, what I'm predicting here, is I think we're going to get a tag team match. I think it's going to be Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed taking on CM Punk and Roman Reigns in a tag team match, because it at least stays within the storyline. You also get all four of those stars on the card, and I think we're way too early for a Roman Reigns CM Punk match. If you did that, eh, like, I understand they have their conflicts, and I understand they have a lot of history, but I also think that you would be really pigeonholing yourself into this. I think you'd be really forcing this natural storyline that can play out at next year's WrestleMania, and I think that's actually what we're going to be getting, Roman Reigns, CM Punk at WrestleMania next year. So you might as well somewhat keep your plans in place, just remove Rollins from it, keep the young kids in there, have Roman, have CM Punk beat Breaker and Reed, and you move on with your life. That's what I would do. I think that's what you're going to get. Now, after SummerSlam, after you do that match, then there is the question of, okay, well, where do you go from here? Okay, how do you deal with Roman? How do you deal with Punk? How do you deal with Bronson? How do you deal with Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker? How do you deal with these guys? Do you keep Braun and Bronson as a unit? I would assume so. Do you keep them as a tag team, or do you kind of split them off and let them do their own individual programs? Do you have them split off and keep feuding with Roman? Say you have a Breaker and a Roman program and a Reed and a Punk program, or vice versa. Do Bronson and Breaker just go off and feud with someone else, a la the same way with Roman Reigns and Punk? So many different questions that they're going to have to answer. And there's not really a clear cut vision for this, but I would be very curious to see what they end up doing, because you are talking about massive star power and you are talking about massive plans, and you're going to have to change all of this out. And you also have the situation with Seth Rollins of like, okay, well, where do you go from here with him? You got to find out, okay, what's the injury? What's the severity of the injury? Does he need surgery? Because that's going to play an impact on his recovery time. Does he need surgery? If he does get the surgery, then what is his timetable for recovery and rehab and ultimately getting back to in ring action? So many different things line up with someone getting injured. There's so many different things that they have to go through. There's layers. There was video of Seth coming out of the show visibly upset. He was helped to the back. He was cussing. He was there with Paul Heyman, I believe, either two referees or two doctors, I forget, and just visibly upset. And rightfully so. I mean, he's had a history of knee problems. He's had a history of being inserted into big time plans only to get injured. I mean, he almost had to miss WrestleMania last year because of a knee injury. He forced his way through it. He didn't wrestle for like 3 months, and he got through it on his own, right? And he took time off afterwards. There is a history with Seth Rollins getting injured in big time moments at the most important of times. And it's really unfortunate for him, but I hope and wish him all the best. I hope to see Seth Rollins back on WWE television. He's extraordinarily a great performer, and WWE will miss having that type of talent on television and having that type of star power on television. And I hope to see him back very, very soon. Let me know down in the commentary below, what do you think about the situation involving Seth Rollins and it causing changes to WWE's plans?